The city lights glimmered like fallen stars on the wet New York streets that night, their reflections trembling in puddles left behind by a summer storm. Somewhere beneath those neon glows, inside a quiet alley, behind a towering corporate building, a woman lay half-conscious on the cold pavement. Her tailored navy suit was torn, her hair soaked, and her trembling fingers clutched the edge of her wheelchair, tipped over beside her. Her voice cracked through the silence, fragile and desperate. "Please don't hurt me. I can't walk." It wasn't a movie scene. It was real. The same woman who once commanded boardrooms with confidence, whose signature could move millions, was now crying for mercy under a flickering streetlight. Her name was Amanda Hayes, CEO of one of Manhattan's top marketing firms, a woman the world once admired, envied and feared. Before we go further, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of humanity, please take a second to like this video, subscribe to Kindness of Americans, and share this story with someone who might need to believe in compassion again. That night was supposed to be the celebration of Amanda's latest corporate success. Her company had just secured a multi-million-dollar deal, and she'd attended a party full of champagne, music, and powerful people. But power has a way of making enemies, especially in the business world. As Amanda left early, tired and alone, a man followed her into the alley. He was a disgruntled former employee, furious about being laid off. What happened next changed her life forever. The attack was brutal. He shoved her to the ground, rage blinding his reason. She fell hard, her back hitting a sharp corner of the curb. Pain exploded through her spine, stealing her ability to move. When he fled, leaving her broken and terrified, Amanda's world went black. Days later, she woke up in a hospital bed, surrounded by white walls and the faint smell of antiseptic. The doctor's face said it before his words did. She might never walk again. Amanda stared at the ceiling, numb. For someone who built her life around control, strength, and independence, the idea of being permanently disabled shattered something deep inside her. In the weeks that followed, she withdrew completely. Her company was now run by her board, her apartment filled with silence. Her phone buzzed with messages from employees and friends, but she never answered. The woman who once led hundreds could barely face her reflection in the mirror. Her once bright blue eyes looked hollow, her confidence gone. She'd always believed success protected her from weakness. But now she was learning the hardest truth. Sometimes life humbles you in ways you never see coming. And then, one ordinary morning, the story took a turn. Amanda had hired a home care aide, someone to help her with daily tasks since she couldn't move without her wheelchair. The agency sent a man named Ethan Brooks, a quiet, soft-spoken single dad in his mid-30s. He arrived on a rainy Thursday, holding a clipboard and wearing a faded grey hoodie under his jacket. His eyes, warm, brown and calm, met hers with respect, not pity. Amanda didn't like the idea of being cared for by anyone, let alone a stranger. But she didn't have much choice. Her pride was still her armor. Ethan quickly noticed that. He didn't push her to talk, didn't treat her like a patient. Instead, he moved around her apartment with quiet efficiency, making breakfast, tidying up, and checking on her with gentle professionalism. It wasn't until a week later that Amanda learned more about him. He had a daughter named Lily, an 8-year-old with golden hair and a heart condition. Ethan had lost his wife 3 years earlier in a car accident, and since then he'd been working double shifts. Anything to cover medical bills and keep a roof over their heads. Yet despite all his burdens, he never complained. Amanda couldn't understand it. How could someone with so little still seem so peaceful? She found herself watching him quietly sometimes as he made coffee or read to his daughter during his breaks. There was something grounding about his presence, something she hadn't felt in years. Weeks passed, and Amanda slowly began to heal, not physically but emotionally. She started talking again, laughing softly at Ethan's simple stories, even watching TV with Lily when she visited. The laughter of that little girl filled Amanda's penthouse in a way that made the marble floors and designer furniture finally feel human again. But life had another twist waiting. One afternoon, while Ethan was helping Amanda during her physical therapy exercises, her board members called. They wanted to remove her from her CEO position permanently. They said investors were losing faith in her ability to lead from a wheelchair. When she hung up, her hands were shaking. Ethan saw her break for the first time. She covered her face, sobbing uncontrollably. The woman who once held an empire in her hands was now powerless to even stand. He knelt beside her and said quietly, "Maybe you can't walk yet, but you're still standing taller than most people I've ever met." That night, Amanda couldn't sleep. She thought about his words over and over. Something inside her began to reignite. The old fire, the determination that once made her unstoppable. The next morning, she called her assistant, asking for her laptop. From her wheelchair, she started working again, slowly, relentlessly. She began drafting ideas for a new company, one that didn't just chase profits, but purpose. Ethan became her silent partner in the process, supporting her, encouraging her, and even helping her test accessible office layouts so she could design a workplace that welcomed everyone, regardless of disability. He believed in her when no one else did. Months later, Rise Collective, Amanda's new company, launched. It focused on hiring people with disabilities, single parents, and anyone society often overlooked. The project went viral, gaining national attention. News outlets called it a revolution in corporate empathy. Investors came back, not for greed, but because they saw something real. Through it all, Ethan stayed beside her, not as her caretaker anymore, but as her friend, her anchor. And when Lily's health took a sudden downturn, Amanda stood by them just as fiercely. She used her connections to get Lily the best medical care, personally funding her surgery. When the operation succeeded, Ethan broke down in tears, hugging Amanda tightly. That moment, under the sterile lights of the hospital hallway, everything changed. They didn't need to say anything. It was in their eyes, the unspoken understanding that love, the kind born of kindness and sacrifice, had quietly grown between two broken souls who had helped each other heal. Months later, Amanda attended a conference to speak about her journey. Cameras flashed as she rolled onto the stage in her wheelchair, looking radiant in a white suit. The audience fell silent when she began to speak. She said, "People used to call me powerful because I led a company. But real power isn't control, it's compassion. It's the ability to rise again after life brings you to your knees, and sometimes the hands that lift you belong to people you least expect." When she finished, the hall erupted in applause. In the crowd, Ethan and Lily were watching, smiling through tears. That night, as they drove home, Amanda looked out the car window at the city skyline that once defined her worth. Now it simply reminded her of how fragile and beautiful life could be. She reached over, took Ethan's hand and whispered, "Thank you for changing everything." He smiled softly and said, "You changed yourself. I just believed in you." And in that quiet, heartfelt moment, Amanda finally felt something she hadn't in years: peace. Because sometimes, life's cruelest moments lead us to the kindest people. If this story touched your heart, please take a moment to like this video. Subscribe to Kindness of Americans and share it with someone who needs hope today.